Do you love old cars and trucks? Join us on Bring 'em Back to Life, where we search the salvage yards and backyards of America to find that gold mine of a parts car or that restorable gem in the rough. Come with us down memory lane as we elevate the status of our salvage yards to outdoor museums of automotive history.
Well, I got an email a couple days ago from a gentleman that I never met, and he said he's one of the viewers of Bring 'em Back to Life, and he'd even read an article about me and my wife in the local paper and knew we had all the classic Chevys. And he says, I've got a 1990 Cadillac Brougham that was my son's that he really loved, and he left the state, and we're retiring and moving from Connecticut, and would like to know if you're interested in the 1990 Cadillac Brougham. He said it's a nice car. It hasn't run for a few years. It's been a temporary garage, but if you're interested, come down and look at it. And if you really want it, I got a title and I'll give it to you. So I did a little research and found out that a 1990 Cadillac takes a Group 78 battery, because he said it was dead, and my Suburban that's sitting right there, my red, white, and blue square body, has a Group 78 battery. So I'm going to go take the battery out of that, and I'm going to borrow it temporarily and bring it to the gentleman's house and put it in the 1990 Cadillac. And if the gas gauge says there's old stale gas, I'll siphon it out and put some fresh gas, and if it spins it over, we'll see if it starts. Because if it starts, Johnny Baker said we can drive it on his heavy-duty trailer and bring it home. If it doesn't start, I'll have to go to Plan B. But that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to take the battery out of the Suburban and drive a couple towns and put it in a Cadillac and see if it spins over. And there's a side post Group 78 right there, and that should do the trick. Okay, I have arrived at the location where there's a 1990 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. It's got a 5.0 or a 307 as we called them before, and I've popped the hood. I've placed my Group 78 battery that was in my Suburban in the battery box. I went to the rear to see if I could tell if there was any fuel in this thing. Now remember these? Haven't seen one of these that opened behind the car under the trunk for a while, but there's where she goes. So I climbed underneath and I banged on the gas tank, and I said, well, I might as well show everybody. It looks pretty nice under here actually. Just a little bit of surface rust touching everything, but listen to the gas tank. That sounds pretty empty to me. So I just went and got $10 worth of fresh gas. And we're going to start by putting some gas in it, priming the carburetor, and see if she'll come back to life. But Renee packed me some hot soup to eat for lunch, and it's lunchtime. So I'm going to eat my hot soup, and then prime this carburetor, put some gas in the tank, see what we've got. Okay, I've put $10 worth of gas in the tank. I have primed the carburetor. Now we're going to get in there and see what it does. Well, it's trying to start. It's got a weak starter solenoid. Keeps kicking out. I'll try that 2 or 3 more times and see what happens.
It's old and everything's leaking. I need to have it ready because the only game in town might be the wood chipper.
Okay, we're back at the Great American Land Yacht here, and I went and got some starter fluid down at Bumper to Bumper, and this thing is going to run because we know it'll turn over and fire. So Johnny's got the key, right, John?
Let's try this.
I'm going to give her a shot.
Ready to go?
Fire it up.
Wow. Not too shabby.
Now to load her on the trailer and take her to her new home. So Jim, you told me this car's been sitting here a few years, right?
Yeah.
2 years.
About 8?
Yes.
About 8. See what a Cadillac does to a driveway when it sits for 8 years? They'll always remember where it was. the footprint of a 90 Cadillac.
Boy, this is a big car. Wants to spin? Yeah, I'm have to get a little bit of room to start.
A little bit back up. Bring the wheel a little bit straight.
Back up a little more, Dennis. We'll get you a little more of a run and start up there. Alright, you good? Cut it to me a little. Cut it to me, Dennis. Cut it to me. Cut it. There you go. Straight up, buddy. Alright, hold on. A little more. A little more. A little more. Alright, good. Right there. You want anything in the store, buddy?
Okay, since I'm an Amsoil dealer and I like to keep my fuel systems clean, since this car's been sitting 8 years and I put 10 bucks worth of fresh gas in it, I'm going to put this Amsoil gasoline performance improver in, and then 20 bucks worth of fresh 93 octane, because I can't get this registered till motor vehicle opens again, and we don't know when that's going to be. So here we go. Okay, there we go. $30 of 93 octane. In my Great American Land Yacht. Well, here's the old square body farm truck. It served me for a long time, but as you can see, it's on a trailer. Johnny and I just came home with the Cadillac, and he's taking the old square body back to his house, and we're going to start the disassembly to do the easy swap chassis with the 56 Chevy.
What's up, baby?
So the next time you see this truck, it'll be in pieces. and the chassis getting cleaned up and getting ready for modernization of a 56 Chevy.
May she rest in pieces.
For those of you who might have seen me and Renee on the road last summer, we were in Minnesota, Indiana, at the Tri-5 Nationals in Bowling Green, in Virginia, salvage yards and events all over the place, getting video for Bring 'em Back to Life. Well, you might have seen my 2012 Impala, this white over blue. I had changed the oil on June 1st last year, and I put in the Amsoil Signature Series 0W30, and that's good for 25,000 miles or 1 year. Partway through I changed the filter, topped it off again with a quart, and just barely needs another quart. So the way I think as a Yankee, I'm going to drain the oil that's only 10 months old and only has 21,000 miles on it, and I'm going to use it to put the flush kit in to do the Cadillac. So that's the way us Yankees think. Anyway, I'll be putting the best oil back in my Impala, and I'll be using the drain oil with a flush kit to clean the engine in the Cadillac. I'll be back. Well, here's my 1990 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. And I did something yesterday that I didn't think I would ever do, or even have to tell people I did, but I washed my Cadillac. And I came out and I cleaned her up a bit, took some old stickers off that the previous owner had, and did a little touch up where there was some little rusty spots about the size of my thumbnail, and I had a can of paint that was almost perfect. So I did a little clean up, and she looked pretty nice sitting here for a big white land yacht. And as you could tell, when I was in the driveway at Jim and Ruse, who gave it to me, the starter was getting weak, but it was enough to get her going. But I know that oil in there is at least 8 years old, because that's how long it was sitting in their driveway. So I'm going to do a quick oil change with a flush kit, an Amsoil flush kit, so that I'll get any of the old, well, I guess you could call it wax. It's called paraffin. Paraffin is in standard oils to give it the different weights. So I'm going to do a flush kit with an Amsoil oil engine flush kit with a filter that I have in stock that's too old to sell, because it's out of date, but it works fine for this 5.0 1990 Cadillac. So after the flush kit, we'll be putting a fresh oil change with 1030 in it, Amsoil, 100% synthetic, and I'll put an Amsoil sticker on the trunk. But in the meantime, I kind of like my 1990 land yacht. Can't wait to put some fresh tires on her and take her for a ride when the motor vehicle department opens again and I can get a plate. I'll be back after the oil change.
and see you.
Okay, I have what could be about a 10-year-old oil filter here. And what I like to see when somebody sells me or gives me an old vehicle is that they had some basic knowledge of a car, because this is a Wix filter. And as an Amsoil dealer, we not only sell some of the best Amsoil filters in the world, we also carry the full Wix line. So that's a good sign that there's a Wix filter in this Caddy. So what I'm going to do is I have another filter that Amsoil used to sell. The old numbers were SDF. They don't use them anymore because they redid their whole line of filters. So they don't recommend I sell this to anyone. But it meets the same gasket requirements and dimensions as this Wix filter. So rather than throw it away and write it as a loss, I'm going to use it for my 20-minute flush and then put another one of the modern filters on. So that's the next step. 20 minutes with the SDF, which is not usable for full time, and then the flush kit. That's going in next. Okay, here goes. I have put the good used oil from the Impala in the Cadillac, and I'm now going to put in the Amsoil engine flush. That only takes a few seconds. Put the oil filler cap back on. Put the key in the ignition, set the choke, and see what happens. And we're running. Well, here we are for the final step in a Amsoil flush and oil change. We're going to put the 10W30 in. Of course, we're not going to be going 25,000 miles in a year, but it'll last a while, and it'll take good care of this old 131,000 mile 5.0 or 307. Well, I might have mentioned that the left rear tire on my 90 Cadillac Fleetwood kept going flat. Well, it's because it's old, it's got dry rot. But the others all stay up, so I'm going to have to get into the tire and see if I can put a better one on until I can get it registered anyway. But here's what we're going to do on Corona Caddy today. First thing I had to learn to do was how to get one of these wire wheel covers off on the old Cadillacs. I hadn't experienced that before, but I was, prying on it a little bit with a tire iron like I do my old Chevys, and it was obvious that it wasn't going to come off because something was holding it on. So I went online to my old Cadillac group, and I said, okay everybody, how do you take a wire wheel cover off a 90 Cadillac Fleetwood? Several people responded right away. And it was kind of neat. They said first you just pry off that little emblem in the middle very carefully with a flat edge tool, which might be a screwdriver, and if you pry in the little spots, it'll pop off, which it does, nice and easy. So I put that in the trunk. Then I looked underneath, and that said there's a lock, a cammed lock, internal cams like you would find on aftermarket wheels that people buy for anti-theft. And they said, well, they were anti-theft at the time, but if you want to get them off, you can take a little chisel and hammer and tap on the cam lobes inside the lock in a counterclockwise tap and eventually turn it off. So that's what I did. I tapped on it and tapped on it. But in the meantime, I went into the trunk to see if there was a tool that they were mentioning. A special tool for Cadillacs. So I opened the trunk, and there's the spare tire. No jack, no handle, but no, it's 30 years old. But right in the trunk, there's the instructions. A 30-year-old instruction sheet. Wire wheel cover removal and installation instructions. And they show a little special wrench. So I went back online and I said, okay, I emptied the trunk. There's no jack, no lug wrench, no special tool. What do? And several people said, well, a lot of guys put them in their glove boxes or under their seats. So I went through the whole thing. No special tool. But I did find the glove box owner's manual, which I mentioned. And I looked under the instructions and it said it was a color-coded tool depending on the Cadillac. So it doesn't exist. Well, anyway, I got the spare tire. If I need it, it's there. And I got the wire wheel cover off. And what holds the wire wheel cover on, underneath that special lock, is a three-hole contraption with the lug nuts over it. And that's it. That's how you get a wire wheel cover off a Cadillac. Be right back. Okay, so now I know how to take a wire wheel cover off. I've showed some of you how to take a wheel cover off on my Corona Caddy. Now I'm wearing my brand new t-shirt and it says, Denny Salvage says, keep back 6 feet. It's because I care about my health, I care about your health, and we care about our family's health. I'm wearing my bandana to protect me, and I wish you'd do the same when you're out in public. But these shirts are available. I designed them with my friend. He's printing them for me. They're on my YouTube channel. They're on my website, den-56.com. And you can purchase one through my store for $20, shipped anywhere in the continental United States. Enjoy. And coming right up will be more footage from the 2019 Minnesota Street Rod Association's Back to the 50s at the State Fairgrounds.